Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's Committee of Adjustment hearing is being held by video conference and live streaming video on the town's live stream webpage at oakville.ca. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act. Please keep in mind the intent of this process is to review the application that is before the committee, listen to the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any concerns or disputes that may exist between the town, individuals, or organizations. If a request for a deferral is made and the committee grants such a request, the applicant or authorized agent must contact the Secretary-Treasurer to schedule a new hearing date. In order to conduct an effective and efficient electronic hearing, we have adopted the following process. If you are watching the live stream of this hearing on oakville.ca and if you wish to speak to an item on the agenda, you can call 905-815-6095. Again, the number is 905-815-6095. The phone number is also posted on the screen below the live stream at oakville.ca. Staff will be standing by to take your call, and when you call in, staff will ask for your name and number and item that you wish to address. And further instructions will be provided to you to call back to join the video conference. When the chair of the committee polls for the interested parties, you'll have to press *6 to unmute yourself. The applicant or agent will be given the opportunity to briefly explain to the committee the basis of the application and answer any questions that may arise. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for that presentation. You will all need to state your full name and address for the record. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. All delegations must also state their full name and address for the record. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided to each presentation. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. The applicant or agent will then be provided a further 5 minutes to respond to comments made by interested parties and answer any questions that the committee may have. If the applicant or agent has any concerns found in staff report, particularly in the proposed conditions, this will be the opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken into committee for decision, and this will mark the end of all discussion. Any person desiring a notice of the decision for an application must provide a written request, preferably through email, to the Secretary-Treasurer. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed no later than 10 days for minor variance and 15 days for consents. The applicant, agent, and any other person who has filed a written request for such notice. The last day to appeal the decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal will be noted on the decision. Only the applicant, specified persons, and public bodies may appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note that in November 2022, Bill 23 legislation, the More Homes Built Faster Act, amended the Planning Act to remove all appeal rights for members of the public. If no appeal is received within the prescribed timeframe, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding. The Secretary-Treasurer will then notify the applicant and anyone who received a copy of the decision through written correspondence. People participating in this hearing are to be courteous to and respectful to the members of the committee, town staff, and any other person participating in this electronic hearing. Tonight's electronic hearing is being video recorded and available to view in future times at oakville.ca. Thank you. We have no regrets this evening. Declarations of any peculiar interests. Excellent, thank you. Requests for deferrals or withdrawals of applications, Madam Secretary Treasurer. If anyone has an item on the agenda that they wish to defer or withdraw, please raise your hand and the Secretary Treasurer will invite you in to speak.
We have one hand. Sarah Clark will be joining the meeting.
Okay, very well.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of committee. Just checking you can hear me.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Clark. Thank you. Perfect. Go ahead.
Sarah Clark here on behalf of Menkes South Lake Homes, Inc. I'm a planner with Blenchnar and Associates. My client has a series of applications on the agenda tonight. However, a total of 2 items on this agenda that we're seeking deferral of. one being item A089-2025 for 158 Charles Bay Crescent, and it's item 6.3, and the other being the following item 6.4, A090-2025 for 166 Charles Bay Crescent. And the reason for deferral tonight for both of the applications is to continue to work with staff and potentially amend the application. We do have a meeting scheduled for later this week to discuss the applications with staff, and we look forward to the opportunity to appear before the committee again, if granted.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Clark. Members, all those in support of a deferral? Okay, the application has been deferred, none opposed.
Thank you.
Both of them, and that goes for the same.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary Treasurer, I've moved both applications at the same time, seeing as though it was the same representation and for the same reason. Okay. Anyone else seeking a deferral or withdrawal?
We're showing no more hands.
Very well. We'll start the agenda. Okay. The first item on our agenda is a consent application that is also attached to several variants. We'll take that first, and that is B25-02 at 1349 Clearview Drive. Again, that's B25-02 at 1349 Clearview Drive. I believe Mr. Joris Kieran is representing this application.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead, Mr. Kieran.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the committee and Madam Chair. My name is Joris Kieran. I am the agent for this application. As already mentioned, this is an application for consent to sever property to create two lots, and that is in conjunction with two variance applications attached to it to permit for a slightly reduced frontage for the newly created lots. There were some comments or letters of objection submitted from two neighbors, so I will speak to those at the end of this presentation a little bit, and then I'll be happy to take any questions. So slide 1 here is just basically showing the neighborhood as an aerial view with the subject property highlighted. As you can see, the property's one of the largest in the area, so a good candidate for severance in that regard. So next slide, please. So this is the actual severance sketch prepared by the surveyor. So we have frontages of 13.8185 for each property. That's where the variance comes in. Required for this zone, RL3, is 18 meters. And so that's the reduction. I'm just going to briefly read a portion of the staff report, which I think captures nicely the justification and support for this reduction. And I'll read that here. So the staff says, while the numerical reduction in frontage appears significant when compared to the current zoning standard, it is important to note that many of the existing frontages in the surrounding properties are legally non-conforming with the current zoning bylaw. As such, the proposed reduction in frontage will result in lots that are compatible with the prevailing lot pattern as demonstrated in the analysis provided in Table 1. For these reasons, staff consider the variance to be minor in nature and supportable. So there's several other nice paragraphs that they have that speak to this, which are in the report, which I'm sure the committee has read. But in a nutshell, there are many other examples on the street and in the area in general that also do not meet the frontage requirement, and therefore the reduction we're seeking is more or less in line with, it's a little bit less than even the smallest what's existing, but not too far off from that. I'll take the next slide, please. So this is the proposed site plan with a little bit more detail showing the proposed footprints that we have developed for these properties. As the committee is likely aware, these are not the final house plans. These were designed for these lots to demonstrate what could be built and what would be a suitable development for these newly created lots, as an exercise to demonstrate compliance with the various requirements, not only zoning, but everything else that comes into the picture here. We have designed houses that are at the upper end of what we think might be built. We've gone a little bit larger just to sort of capture the worst case scenario in our mind. It's likely these houses might be built smaller than what's here, but this is just showing a slightly more aggressive approach if that were to happen. The houses are in line more or less with the neighboring houses, and everything's skewed a little bit. So if you were to imagine a line being drawn from the front of the garage of the existing house on the right and pulled it across to the house on the left, that line would serve as a setback, and we would be more or less in line with that line. So it's sort of, you know, right in line with the neighboring houses in that respect. We could move the houses back even more, but then it would aggravate the rear yard projection that is also a concern, and it's also one of the things raised by the neighbors, which I'll speak to as well. One of the other issues that we try to work with here is the location of the mature trees. So the positioning of the driveways here and the way that the garages are located is basically to facilitate the preservation of the most important trees as we have identified them. There are other ways that could be done, but it's a trade-off. In certain scenarios, we have other trees that have to be removed and others have to be saved. And we just felt that the ones that we're saving now are the most valuable and the healthiest. So that's why we took this approach in terms of driveway locations. You can see in the rear that we do have a little bit of a projection of the proposed footprints beyond the existing houses on either side. We've taken some steps to mitigate that, and I'll get to that in the next few slides. So I'll take slide 4, please. This is just the streetscape, which demonstrates obviously the design of the houses, which we tried to keep somewhat in line with the existing sort of architecture that's happening, but also try and be realistic about what people are looking for nowadays in terms of style, with, you know, a little bit larger windows, etc., and a little bit of a different look. So we're trying to capture that while maintaining a massing and a height that's sympathetic to, you know, kind of what's happening on either side. The heights in particular, so we had the heights of the existing houses surveyed. So we're dealing with actual numbers here, and we've sort of designed the proposed dwellings to be, again, right in line with that. If you were to draw a line from one house to the other, we'd be kind of falling in line with that. And setbacks are all being complied with, so that is all compliant. I'll take the next slide, please. So this is now coming back to the rear projection, the projection of the houses into the rear yard and beyond the existing houses. So we tried to demonstrate that with this sketch, where the red line is the back of the existing house to the west, so on the left side. So everything beyond that red line would be projecting beyond the existing house next door. And so we were sensitive to that, and we introduced a mid-level roof banding, and then we set the second floor back about 2 feet, and a portion of that projected element is also a one-story porch. So we've broken it up and reduced it in scale for that reason, to, help address that concern. Next slide, please. So this is the exact same discussion, but on the other side, on the other lot, part 2. There, the projection is a little bit bigger, so you can see more of the proposed house sticking beyond the existing house next door. But we've applied the same treatment, so one-story porch, open, and then some breaking up of the massing and the introduction of a mid-level roof line there as well. Next slide. This is just really a floor plan demonstration of the same thing I just talked about. It just shows you on a floor plan how we've set back that wall. This is for the house on the left. Next slide, please. And house on slide 8. So that's the house on the other side, also showing the setback second floor to help break up the massing. Next slide, please. So this is going into just showing what the existing houses look like. The main point I'm trying to make here is that there is substantial garage projection on almost all the houses on that street. This is the house directly across the street. And if we go to the next slide, please. So these are the houses on either side of the subject property, also having a substantial garage projection of 10 to 15 feet approximately. So that's why I'm mentioning this, because that's why our designs also have a similar garage projection, which typically we wouldn't do because it doesn't comply with zoning. But we did it here on purpose so that it would emulate, the existing architecture a little bit more. If I could just get the full screen on me, I'm going to show something on my camera here. I didn't have a chance to insert this in the presentation because it came about as part of the comments that we received in the neighbor comments. So I don't know if you can see that. So what we did is we just prepared a sketch here to show what could be built if the lots weren't severed and what that will look like. So, because there was a criticism about a concern raised by the neighbors about the size of these proposed dwellings, which are slightly bigger than the existing houses that are there. But I think it's important to remember that if this lot's not severed, with the current zoning, there could be an 8,000 square foot house built with a height of about 12 meters, which far exceeds the height of the existing houses that are there. So much, much bigger in mass and scale than what's being proposed, and certainly not appropriate and wouldn't fit in nearly as well with the existing streetscape. Lastly, there were some concerns raised about the trees that are being taken down and also the drainage, which I think the committee is aware, and my typical sort of reminder to everybody is that there are processes in place through the permit application that will ensure review of the trees, and we'll be forced to replant accordingly to the bylaw, and whatever's being removed will have to be replaced with new plantings. That exact formula we don't know yet, but that's all part of the standard permit process. Similarly with grading, grading is heavily scrutinized now, so the permit would not be issued until that's undergone its full review and that it functions according to all the current standards. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kieran. Any questions or items of clarification at this point from Mr. Kieran? Okay, I see none. Madam Secretary Treasurer, has anyone called with interest for this application, or has anyone raised their hand from the audience to speak to this matter?
We're showing no hands and no calls.
Okay, very well. Then we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey. Thank you. And as usual, we'll move the consents and then tackle the attached variances at the same time. You're muted. Yeah, go ahead.
Based on my review of the owner's application, the site plans, building elevations, my site visit, and the presentation by the owner's consultant, plus the planning staff's report, and also having regard to the the comments raised by the neighbors and some of the elements, justification or explanation provided by the planning consultant. I am satisfied that the variances, or no, I'm sorry, this is a consent. Sorry. I move a motion that the application is applied for be approved, subject to conditions that. I'm sorry, I got that one ready. Somebody else wants to read them. I'm thinking.
They're Appendix A.
Okay, I just didn't.
Page 14, yeah, of the comments.
Sorry.
We don't usually need to, Madam Secretary, do you want them to be read on record?
I don't believe they have to be read.
They're part of there's a few of them and they're aware of them. Mr. Kieran, you've read these conditions of approval and you're well aware of them?
Yes, I have, and I'm aware of them and fine with all of them.
Okay.
Madam
So you're off the
Secretary.
hook, Mr. Dickey, reading them all the way.
Don't have to, no.
Okay, thank you.
This is why they don't like talking about consent applications.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
We have a hand up in the audience.
Oh.
It's too late.
Well, yes, we've already started the motion. Yeah. Well, we've taken everything into consideration. So, if is it a member who has already submitted a letter?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we've already read their letters and we've taken that into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
You let me off the hook. I didn't have to read them, right?
Yes.
I still don't have them in front of me. So I put forth the motion to approve, subject to the conditions that are written in the planning report, can be added to the
in Appendix A. Yes, we have that. Okay. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Now, Mr. Dickey, you get to do the easy part, which is the attached variances to each of these lots.
Okay, again for me, thank you. Again, based upon my view of the owner's applications, site plans, building elevations, my site visit, the consultant's report, but also having regard to the comments made by the neighbors and the rebutting comments made by the consultant, I am satisfied that the four tests been achieved. It conforms to the four tests. You got me flustered. And I put for a motion that the application applied for be approved, subject to the condition that for file numbers A074/2025, that the owner's application the owner applicant receive approval. Oh, that's the consent one. Yeah. Sorry.
No, the other one is that the owner applicant receive approval of the consent application and minor variance of 075. They're attached together. That's why we moved them
Okay, I
together.
see what I'm mixing up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about that. That the owner applicant receive approval of the consent application B 2502 and minor variance application A 075 2025.
Okay.
The wording's a little different than normal. It caught me off guard.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so discussion on this recommendation for minor variance 074 2025. None. All those in support? Okay. Application has been approved. Now we move 075 2025, which will be the same, but pending approval on the consent and application 074, basically, because they're all together as a bundle.
Again, Madam Chair, I put forth a motion that the application applied for be approved subject to the condition that the owner applicant receive approval of consent application B 25/02 and minor variance application A -074 2020.
Thank you. Is there discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved. None opposed.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Kieran, if you may, I know you've addressed the neighbor's concern in your presentation, and that's on record. But if you have a chance to contact the neighbor and just explain to them, just in case they missed it because they came in too late and we were already in the process of discussing the approval, I think that would be something nice that you can do, and just explain to them that grading and all of that, that's being dealt through just the same way you explained it on live.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to do that. I don't have their contact information because it's redacted, but the Secretary Treasurer, feel free to send them my contact information and then they can reach out to me and then we can go from there. Or if they authorize me to contact them, then similar to the Secretary Treasurer can provide me their contact information.
Perfect. And we have that. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Kieran. We appreciate that. Okay. Have a good night.
You too. I'll see you in a bit though.
Oh yeah.
Have another one.
Okay. Very well. Okay, we're now moving on to minor variance application A087 of 2025 at 28 Barringham Drive. Again, that's application 087 of 2025 at 28 Barringham Drive. And I've got Mr. Carlo. I know one of these letters is silent, so I don't want to botch it, but maybe they can help me.
Can you hear me? It's Carlo Richopo.
Richopo. Okay, thank you. Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just acting on my own behalf here, of course. And I guess number 10 in the application sort of lays it out. Sorry, second here. The variance requested is to legalize a site condition that occurred during construction. An adjustment in grading during landscape construction resulted in the two walkways flanking the driveway to be built flush with the driveway. Although the driveway is wider immediately in front of the garage, it cannot accommodate any vehicle parking, and the majority of the driveway is well below the allowable 9 meters, which is we're at 7.8 meters. And when this just came to light when we had our final inspection booked for last fall. He couldn't come out in the fall. We had a dusting of snow, and so he just postponed it till the spring. And then he came in, I believe, in April or May, and realized this conditioned that the area there that was flush with the walkways, and he had an issue with the width.
Okay. Any questions from the committee members? Mr. Chopio? Sorry, Richopo. I did.
That's fine. I haven't called the lawyers.
Any questions, items of clarification? Okay, very well. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Ms. Price. Thank you.
Okay, taking into consideration my site visit, the owner's application, the agent's presentation, and the town staff report, I'm of the opinion the 4 tests of the Planning Act have been met and the variance is minor in nature. I also note there have been no objections by surrounding neighbors. In conclusion, then, I recommend the proposed variance be approved subject to the following condition. The driveway be constructed in general accordance with the submitted landscape plan dated May 1st, 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Any discussion on this recommendation? Yeah, I see none. All those in support?
Yes.
Very well. Is there something?
Yeah, sorry, I just don't quite understand that point. That it's built in, like it's finished, it's done. So does that mean it's okay?
Yes,
Oh,
because they made it in general accordance with the submitted landscape. So whatever you submitted on this application, which is apparently the existing condition that you have
Yes.
right now, is what
Okay.
we're approving.
I
But we
understand.
always have to attach
I understand.
our approval to a specific set of designs, which you would have had to provide.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So it's been approved, none opposed.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Application 088 of 2025 at 2436 Meadowwood Crescent, and that's application again 088 of 2025 at 2436 Meadowwood Crescent. And Mr. Kieran should be back.
Hello again, members of the committee, Madam Chair.
Hello.
Joris Kieran, agent for the applicant for this application. Also, this is a more straightforward application, more along the lines of what I'm typically here for. We have 2 variances, one for increase in residential floor area and one for increase in garage area. The variances are highlighted on the site plan with the hatched, darkened boxes there. And if we go to slide 2, please. So as we normally do, we kind of highlight the areas that are contributing to the overage. So for variance 1, the garage area, the little box there in red in the garage is indicating it's essentially storage space, not enough to facilitate a full vehicle. So it's not a 3-car garage, it's just a garage with a bit of extra space in behind. It's a 2-car garage from the front, so it reads like a 2-car garage as a standard, which is standard on the street. So the extra area is just in the back there. For variance 2, we have the areas on the 2nd floor are mainly contributing to that. The main objective here was to create en suites for all bedrooms and also to have a laundry room up there. So that's added up to the overage. You could make the argument that some of the ground floor is also a contributor, but we decided to sort of put it all upstairs. So in a nutshell, that's about the space graphically represented of the overage. There is a last item which came about through the comments that we received, and Secretary Treasurer was kind enough to insert this updated slideshow at the last minute, so I really appreciate that. It was a comment from fire department objecting to not so much these variances, but objecting to the fact that we were not providing the 1.2 meter access that they like to see for on at least one side of the building. We do have window wells on the other side, so that's for sure not going to work there. But on this side, there is a small square box next to the garage. You can see it indicated there. And what that is, it's not floor area. There's not even a foundation there. This is part of the roof design that comes down. So it's more of a decorative element. And I think they're interpreting that as like an actual, wall or a foundation, but it's not. However, it may still be an obstruction nonetheless. So I wanted to bring it up in case it became relevant to these variances, if it was a concern, we are prepared to remove that feature to address the concern raised by the fire department, because it's a roof element, it's totally decorative, and we can remove it either through this process, or we can address it when we get to the building permit phase. If I can go to the next slide, please. So that's the front elevation. More back to just the description of the main variances being requested. We've taken the steps in our design process like we often do to break up the massing. So we have the front door and the front living room area is 1.5 stories. It's not full 2-story. Helps to soften and lower the massing. Also over the garage, we have that bedroom. It's set back about 3 feet. And then there's further articulation and stepping happening on the second floor as well. Next slide, please. So this is to show the additional articulation and breaking up of the massing that we're doing, on the sides as well to help reduce that massing. But more importantly, we've just highlighted that roof element I was just talking about that fire department had an objection to. That's what it looks like. It just sort of the roof comes and bends down, and that's just sort of a completely decorative feature. So we're happy to remove that to address their concern, and we just don't want it to impact this process for the variances in question here now. I think that's the last slide. Yeah, 404. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kieran. Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question for both Mr. Kieran and Mr. O'Hare. I'll ask Mr. Kieran first, just on that last comment you made. So if the committee were to find favor with this application, would an amended condition that read dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan and elevation drawing dated May 23rd, 2025, as amended to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development to satisfy comments from the fire department if necessary? Would that be acceptable?
Yeah, that's acceptable to me, yeah.
And Mr. O'Hare, would that be acceptable to staff?
Yep, I have no concerns with that through you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Okay. Any further questions or items of clarification? Yeah, I see none. All right. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
We've had no calls and no hands.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'm assuming, Mr. Tlowski, you're moving this one because you went through the
I wrote down the homework, yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Chair, I'm prepared to move this application be approved as applied for, finding it meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. I don't believe that there will be any impact from the variances, despite the fact that Mr. Kieran has showed additional floor space on the second floor. He still provided significant articulation in the building and set back the second floor in many instances. Madam Chair, I would note that there was no objection from the community, and I would make the approval subject on 2 conditions. First, as I stated earlier, the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan and elevation drawings dated May 23rd, 2025, as amended to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development, to satisfy comments from the fire department if necessary. I've added the if necessary, maybe as Mr. Kieran indicated, once he has a chat with the fire department, they'll be okay with it, but just in case they're not, we'll amend that condition. And second condition, that the approval expire within 2 years if a building permit doesn't issue.
Very well. Is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay. The application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, application 091 of 2025, 170 Charles Bray Crescent. And that's again, application 091 of 2025, 170 Charles Bray Crescent. It looks like Miss Sarah Clark is with us for the long haul for this meeting. So I guess we'll take one at a time. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Yes, like my friend Mr. Kieran, I am back. So like I said, Sarah Clark, planner with Glenschnar and Associates. I'm here to speak to the last 4 applications on the agenda tonight, being A091 through A094-2025, or agenda items 6.5 through 6.8 inclusive. These applications deal with 194, 198, 170, and 174 Charles Bray Crescent on behalf of the owners, Menkes South Lake Homes, Inc. As you pointed out, Madam Chair, there is 4 applications left. You'll note that I've referenced 4 separate applications on tonight's agenda. However, considering these applications all request the exact same variance related to a garage floor area exceedance, I've prepared one presentation dealing with all 4 applications for the sake of brevity.
That's fine. We'll listen to the presentation for all 4 of them, and then when it comes to moving, we'll move them each separately.
Makes complete sense.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so before I start, I would like to thank staff for their review of the application and their comments, conditions, general support on all 4, and the opportunity to appear before the committee tonight. Next slide, please. So as shown on this aerial, the lands subject to the application are located within a greater plan of subdivision, which is generally located east of Allison Crescent on the south side of Nautical Boulevard. Next slide, please. So previously, these lands were subject to a draft plan of subdivision application, which has since been approved and also registered, which created the 37 lots that you see before you. The lots shown in blue with a yellow outline are the lots subject to the 4 variance applications that I spoke about. For the benefit and just general knowledge background of the committee, I would note that there was no zoning bylaw amendment application rather, submitted alongside the draft plan of subdivision, as it was expected that the dwellings on all 37 lots would fully conform to the zoning standards, and therefore one was not needed. Next slide, please. So as shown on this slide, the lands are zoned RL6-296. Notably, while there is a special exception zone in effect, and we expect a lot of things to fall out of that, I do note that the special exception zone really only deals with the additional land use permissions granted for a school, as this was a former released school board site. So for the purposes of the zoning regulations related to these lots, you would refer only to the RL6 parent zone and any relevant general provisions in the town's zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. So before I jump into the fun stuff, I do note at a high level that the purpose of the applications before the committee today is to deal with a single regulation under the general provisions of the town's bylaw related to a maximum permitted private garage floor area. Next slide, please. So this slide illustrates the variance request, which is to permit a maximum total garage floor area of 54 meters squared, whereas 45 meters squared is permitted. So as shown on this slide in the red hatching or dots, the additional GFA in the garage is sort of allocated to the rear portion of the garage and is almost recessed, or let's say built into the house. This was done very intentionally in order to remain compliant with and not to frustrate the intent of the town's bylaw regulation related to garages. The additional space could be used for general storage or also as a tandem parking scenario where the cars would sort of be stacked, which would provide obviously additional parking arrangements, helping to avoid off-street parking requirements and just generally managing impact on streetscape. Next slide, please. So just quickly before I wrap up the presentation, I did want to share these renderings to illustrate the front facade of the dwellings. You'll note that in all of the options presented, there's 3 different sort of finishes here. The dwellings really present themselves as those standard 2-car garage units that the town was looking for here. Again, this was done thoughtfully and intentionally to maintain the intent of the town's bylaw related to the garage regulations. The way that the garages were designed creates a scenario where the exceedance is near or totally imperceivable and creates no impact on mass or scale. The internalized parking fits into the residential floor plan without creating weird sort of bump outs, problematic side yards, or issues with coverage conditions. And again, before I wrap up, this is the only deficiency to either the RL6 parent zone or the general provisions of the bylaw, and can almost largely be seen as limited to a sort of interior alteration in its nature. Next slide, please. So thank you for the opportunity to present. In summary, I am of the opinion that the applications meet the 4 tests of the minor variances outlined in the Planning Act, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Are there any questions or items of clarification of Ms. Clark at this time? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest? Oh, Susan, sometimes I don't see your hand. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
In the planner's report, they mentioned about not all the building elevations being submitted. And I was just wondering why they weren't done. Yeah, building. I guess they gave the site plan and the front elevation drawings, but they didn't give the other building elevations, which are usually part of the minor variance submission. Okay. In the planner's report under recommendations, he or she has put that the proposed building elevations of the other parts of the house have not been shown.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Member Price. That is correct. We did see that. While they weren't submitted, I do have them. They are at the back of the presentation that I just had up if you'd like to see them for your own benefit. That being said, we would have happily have submitted those as part of the application package had it have been requested. We just weren't given the opportunity, but they will be reviewed as part of the building permit application, which is also part of an architectural control. So.
Okay.
Are these homes already sold and ready to build, or they're being built by the developer and then put up?
To you, Madam Chair. These particular lots, these ones are sold.
Okay.
Okay. I have no more questions.
Okay. Any further questions or recommendations? Yeah, go ahead, Mr. O'Hare.
Sorry, through you, Madam Chair, to Member Price's question as well. When reviewing the applications that came in, the 4 applications for the same garage floor area variance, we noticed that a site plan was submitted and a front elevation drawing. It's usually customary that all 4 elevations are submitted to the C of A for us to review in addition to the site plan. As such, and instead of requesting a deferral for these applications, the condition has been amended as such and is included within your packages this evening that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan drawing dated February 18th, 2025, and elevation drawings to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development instead of having it subject to a date. So that way, when it comes in for a building permit, planning staff will have an opportunity to ensure that the elevations that are submitted represent, again, the four variances under the Planning Act and are not egregious in any sense. So it gives us that opportunity to be flexible in that regard.
Thank you. Any further questions or items of clarification? Okay, I see none. So let's move one application at a time because the drawing dates are different with each lot, and I want to make sure that they are done correctly. So first we'll move application 091 of 2025 at 170 Charles Bray Crescent. Again, that's application 091 of 2025 at 170 Charles Bray Crescent. Who would like to move a motion for this application? Ms. Price, I don't see your hand, but I see you smiling, so I'm assuming your hand is up. Go ahead.
Okay. Taking into consideration the owner's application, the agent's presentation, and the town's staff report, I am of the opinion that the four tests of the Planning Act have been met and the variance is minor in nature. I note there have been no objections by surrounding neighbors. In conclusion, then, I recommend the proposed variance be approved subject to the following conditions. The dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan, drawing dated January 9th, 2025, and the elevation drawings to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. Number two, that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued with the proposed construction.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. It's funny, I keep going like this to see your hand, and I'm like, it's not going to make any difference. As if you're turning a corner. Oh, it's too funny. Okay, back to the matter at hand. 092, application 092 of 2025 at 174 Charles Bray Crescent. Again, that's application 092 of 2025 at 174 Charles Bray Crescent.
Okay, can I just do the conditions?
If you want to do them all, by all means, go ahead. I don't think Mr. Michael Talasio or Mr. Dickey will oppose.
Okay, I'll just do the read the conditions then.
Okay.
So the dwelling being constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan drawing dated February 16th, 2025.
Hold on, I have 18th. You have the 16th?
No, I have the 18th. I just have bad eyes.
Okay, so February the 18th.
2025. And elevation drawings to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. Number two, that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Very well. Again, is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Okay, application 093 of 2025 at 194 Charles Bray Crescent. Again, that's 093 of 2025 at 194 Charles Bray Crescent. Go ahead.
Number one, the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated January 28th, 2025, and elevation drawings to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. Number two, that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Very well, thank you. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Very well, the application has been approved, none opposed. Okay, and the last one is application 094 of 2025 at 198 Charles Bray Crescent. Again, that's application 094 of 2025 at 198 Charles Bray Crescent.
One, the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated January 28th, 2025, and elevation drawings to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. Number two, that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Thank you. Again, is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Very well, the application has been approved, none opposed. Okay, thank you, Ms. Clark. Have a good evening.
Thank you for the mouthfuls of information. I thought it was a lot. Appreciate it. Take care. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay, we have minutes to move for June the 25th. Who would like to move those minutes? Thank you, Mr. Dickey. And then we have a motion to adjourn, please. Okay, thank you, Mr. Talowski. We have adjourned at 7:56 p.m.